Whether you are sewing with a machine or by hand, there are some tools you will need to be familiar with. Scissors, shears, and rotary cutters are common cutting tools. Scissors are used to cut fabric or thread when working. The holes in the handles are the same size. Shears are similar to scissors in that they too are used for cutting fabric or thread, but the holes in the handles are different sizes. Rotary blade cutters are often used to cut cleanly through multiple layers of fabric at once. They are used by placing fabric on a special mat and rolling the circular blade over the fabric. They are not recommended for young sewers as they can easily be rolled over exposed fingertips, causing serious injury. Regardless of which tool you use to cut your sewing projects, caution should be exercised and your tools should be kept sharp by only being used on fabrics or threads, never paper or other materials. This helps you extend the life of your blades and improves your chances of getting nice, clean cuts. The cutting mat, mentioned in conjunction with the rotary blade cutter, is also a helpful tool. Not only does it shield your cutting surfaces from the blades of scissors, shears, or rotary cutters, but many are marked with a grid and can be used to measure and keep straight lines. Another great measuring tool is a ruler. These come in many shapes and sizes, and acrylic rulers especially are used to keep a straight edge when marking fabric for cutting. Also, when using a rotary blade, you can roll the blade along the edge of the ruler to keep a straight line. A familiar tool in any sewer's kit is a tape measure. This flexible tape is used to measure lengths of fabric, seams, and more. But it is also especially handy when measuring people's sizes to adjust your pattern for constructing clothing. Many types of pins are useful in sewing, but ball head pins tend to be a favorite. Ball head pins are useful in holding paper patterns to fabric while laying them out and cutting, in holding large pieces of fabric together for sewing or ironing, and in many other cases. Do not iron over the ball head of the pins if they are plastic. Sewers with glass head pins will not have to worry about this. Also, it is not recommended that you sew over pins while machine sewing as you run the risk of bending or breaking your needle. Fabric clips are relatively new to the market, but they are nice on smaller projects and larger projects alike. They are not necessary if you have pins available, but I do like to use them with young sewers on their first few projects to eliminate the risk of being pricked by the pins while sewing. This allows them to focus only on their seams and not be distracted with worry over being pricked. A pin cushion or magnet is helpful for holding your pins. While they can be stored in a container, spills are inevitable and can be very tedious to clean up. Pin cushions can be bought or made with fabric and the stuffing of your choice. Pin magnets do cost more than pin cushions, but they are still fairly affordable and are nice to be able to sweep over the floor or sewing surface at the conclusion of a project to pick up any stray pins or needles, but they are certainly not a necessity. Needles for sewing machines and hand sewing are different. Machine needles usually come in small plastic cases, and the eye, or opening of the needle that you put the thread through, is near the pointy end of the needle. Refer to your machine manual for sizes, types, and installation instructions for your machine. Hand sewing needles come in a variety of sizes and styles. Most sewers will pick a needle size and style that feels comfortable in their hand and that is easy to thread. The eye of a hand sewing needle is at the end opposite of the point. Unless a project specifies a type or size of needle to buy, begin with a multi-pack of several different sizes and look for a mid-range size variety. You'll soon find which you prefer most. A thimble is a protective piece of equipment often used in hand sewing. It covers your fingertips, protecting them from being pricked by a needle when hand sewing. Some people prefer to work without them, while others depend heavily on them. They come in a variety of sizes and materials, so pick the right fit for you. Which finger or fingers you wear them on is also up to you. Whether we hand or machine sew, at times we will make mistakes and we do need to undo them. A seam ripper is the ideal tool for this. It lays flat against the fabric, allowing you to slide the long end of the U-shaped blade under the stitch. And then, as you push toward the stitch, it will cut the thread, allowing you to pull the pieces of fabric back apart and start over. Patience is key with a seam ripper, and you should always put the protective cap back on it when not in use so that it doesn't accidentally cut a hole in your project or cut someone. When tracing patterns, marking seams, and sometimes even making notes on our fabric, we want to be sure that we are using marking tools that will not ruin it. Chalk pencils and washable fabric markers made specifically for this purpose are your best bet. Carbon pencils do not wash out easily. Some pens, which claim to disappear when ironed over, will reappear in colder weather. And of course, any household pen or marker is a huge risk. When pressing or ironing, you will need an iron, an ironing surface, and at times you will need a spray bottle of water and/or spray starch. Since the use of the ironing board is so frequent in some projects, some sewers like to purchase or create sewing pads they can keep close by when they sew. Others just use their regular ironing board. Either way is completely acceptable. There is no need for a special iron or starch. Just use what you prefer. If your fabric is especially wrinkled prior to starting a project, you may want to dampen it by spritzing it with water from a spray bottle, but this is optional. Machine sewers will want to keep machine oil and a screwdriver on hand to be able to maintain their own machines and troubleshoot basic problems. Refer to your manual for instructions on how to do this. For major problems, you may need the help of a professional machine service center. Finally, as you get farther into your sewing journey, you will notice a slew of specialty tools and materials. Do your homework on them before purchasing anything and try to avoid items you will only use once and then never touch again. Frugality or responsible spending is always best. So be sure it's something you will use again and again, that it is high quality, and that if it is a tool, that it will endure the test of time. And remember to always, always, always stay within your budget. You will find that for almost every tool or product out there, there is an inventive solution for working without it. One of my favorite things to do before I buy is to go to my local service shop and ask the repair person if he or she has an open package I can see. I ask other customers about it and the repair person too, since they usually use what they sell. Borrowing or trying out tools and products is a great way to learn more about them and decide if they are right for you. And one last final word of warning. If your parents allow you to read or watch online product reviews, it is best to understand that some people get paid by the seller or the manufacturer. That's the person who makes it, to say or write nice things about their products. This can make their opinions less honest, so be sure you exercise caution when listening to people you don't know at all. Now that you're familiar with the most commonly used sewing tools, we're ready to get started having so much fun.